So, I mean, things took off. You did a lot of gigs, as did everybody at the time.
We worked pretty hard, Graham, didn't we?
We were always on the road. Yeah, we were on the road all the time. I mean, we used to have occasional few days off.
Yeah.
But they were very occasional. We were everywhere.
And what was the time span between the first album and the next one then?
It was 9 months, wasn't it? I mean, so the two albums we made as this lineup came in 9 months.
Yeah.
I thought we were just getting going when the thing split up. Charisma had a history of having bands which were kind of mismanaged, if I can put it that way. I don't want to sail into stormy waters here, sued by somebody who kind of like I will not mention, but a lot of the bands who came into Charisma could split up. I mean, Lindström became Jack the Lad, Van der Graaf had just split up when we arrived. Audience split up. I used to see the people who were kind of the main men in
Redbird.
I used to see the kind of guys who were the kind of supposed leaders of the band, like walking through like ghosts in the corridors, kind of like no band, but still receiving wages. And little did I know that I was soon going to become one of these ghosts.
That was on the retainer.
That's right.
Yeah. So what happened then after you split with Charisma?
Oh, Polly and I were really burnt out, and there was just a real mismanagement. If you want to manage a band, you've got to be sensitive. I tried doing it one time, and I realised I couldn't manage a fat after play a piece, honestly. I think that the sensitivity which you needed, the artistic sensitivity, wasn't there. So basically, we split. We went and left. We were living in a little village in Buckinghamshire at the time. We were living that kind of part of the dream, but it was a nightmare because logistically it turned into a total nightmare. I was still driving the car with the band, and the gear was going by, so it was, the rest of the band were in London. But I said to Graham, we were chatting about it, and I said, look, Polly and I came back to Glasgow, and we've got 2 sons, 4 altogether, but 2 that we had after that. So they wouldn't be alive if we hadn't come back. I wouldn't trade any amount of fame, fortune, and anything else for it.
Well, you kept the whole thing going. I've got to skip a couple of decades, unfortunately, but of course you recorded, just quickly want to ask you about The Machine That Cried, which is kind of a landmark album. Was that delivered for Charisma then, or was that?
Yeah, that was Charisma.
And was this the album that they didn't particularly like at the time, or what happened there?
I think actually...
A big progressive statement, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that, my dad had a lung collapse, and Graham actually, when I met Graham, pulled me towards a more kind of progressive. He was in Floyd, much more so. I tend to be into kind of straightforward songwriters.
That's a good balance,
It's got that tension.
And there was a kind of real musical tension in it, and the collapsed lung meant I suddenly had this kind of doomy period, as you can well understand.
You couldn't tour much, I guess.
Well, no, in actual fact, we were back on stage for this tour here 2 weeks after my lung collapsed. That's the truth, and again, that's down to mismanagement, because I was worried about the fact we wouldn't be on stage to do it, and so I let them drill a hole through my chest with a bit and a drill, which was probably unwise, but that's what they did. No, I think that, as I say, we were just getting going because we smuggled a drummer into the studio to do the sessions. And I think it showed what we would have been capable of, because there was so much happening for the band. But they had so much trouble breaking Van der Graaf, and they were having so much trouble breaking Genesis, and they had so little trouble breaking Lindström that they thought, oh no, not another one of these heavy, doomy bands.
So they gave up on you, really, I suppose.
Well, no, Gail Coulson, she was the kind of Stratton Smith's second in command, a really clever woman. I remember her saying, oh God, why does every band we sign end up sounding like Van der Graaf?
I think what they didn't like, or maybe what they didn't like, was that Sugar Everything had in its early first it was a kind of unusual blend. First of all, it had drums, and they had like the kind of what you might call Celtic sort of rock, sort of element, and providing this sort of slightly psychedelic, well not always, or slightly quite, sort of psychedelic vibe in, and it had a kind of, it had a charisma. And,
no pun intended.
And of course, with The Machine That Cries, I think that all of that had been retained. But I think it was just going on a bit, but I think the record company were frightened, like publishers are, and like people who make movies.
By something so
weighty, series,
they
were worried that they were going to lose the market.
Well, all these things are still available, of course, now. I think still on Logic Records, as is this album. The album, I need to tell you one more time, is called live on the Foxtrot tour 40 years ago. I can't do my maths, it would be 19, whenever that was. Back in
72, 73, because the tour went on for 6 months.
And we hope you guys are going to come out and do some more gigs after tonight if you're suitably inspired. It'd be great to see you. Check out the album. It's been Pete Feenstra talking to Chris Adams, Graham Smith, and GetReadyToRock.com. Good evening.